1876, Kalyan, an East Indian village now known as Kalina, earlier known as Kalyana, lay on the eastern side of a forested hillock called the Rai. The word Kalyan means the homes of jackals, foxes, and wolves, which at one time roamed these areas in large numbers freely. The village was divided into sections like Bhat Pakadi, Mathar Pakadi, Corderio Wadi, Desachi Pakadi, Ranwar Pakadi, and other villages of Kolavari across the southeast. An old parish church, Our Lady of Egypt, originally known as Nossa Ben-Hora de Egipto, sat beside a large freshwater lake which was used by the villagers for washing clothes. The Church of Our Lady of Egypt was built in the year 1606. This church is one of the few churches that escaped the ruthless destruction and pillage at the hands of the Marathas during the invasion in 1739. It seems ironical that while the British were in occupation of Bombay, the medium of instruction should have been Portuguese. This is explained by the fact that the parish priest of the church in Salsette, which included Kalyan, were appointed by the Archbishop of Goa. The Goan parish priest knew only Konkani and Portuguese. While the inhabitants of Kalyan spoke Marathi, education must surely have been a slow and painful process. One of the oldest institutions, St. Mary's School, has its origin far back as 1876 and was known as the Little Portuguese School, where Father Custodio Fernandes was the vicar. The school came into prominence around the year 1912. The number of students increased from 130 to 180, and a temporary structure was built in 1914 to accommodate the growing numbers. It was only by the end of the first quarter of the 20th century that a full-fledged primary school was established with an independent school building. Kalina will always be indebted to Father Philip Xavier S.D. Menezes for this priceless heritage. By this time, the medium of instruction has changed to English. The only problem was the villagers were not willing to pay fees, hence the Diocese of Daman and Bombay Catholic Welfare had to render financial help. By now, most well-off families sent their children to schools in Bandra. The children had no transport facilities in those days and would walk the distance daily. In 1936, Archbishop of Bombay took a special interest and, seeing the need for a good building, made a substantial gift of Rs 7,000, and with the efforts of the vicar and his assistant, they managed to get a subscription of Rs 1,100 from the public. The foundation stone was laid by Mr. Katrak, the manager of Kurla Estate. The new building had 4 well-ventilated rooms and could accommodate 200 pupils. Reverend Father Peter Francis Pereira deserves the credit for his able management of the school. By the year 1942, the number of students has crossed the 160 mark. Out of these, over 60 students were girls. By the year 1956, St. Mary's had classes up to the 7th standard with 321 students, out of which more than 135 were girls. St. Mary's had contributed in no small measure to the cause of female education. The principalship during the period 1930 to 1942 was shared by the Ferreira brothers. Father Peter did not believe in sparing the rod and applied it more than liberally. On the other hand, Father Longinus, who succeeded him, was simple, soft-spoken and kind, a gentle giant who rose to become a bishop. Another stalwart of the time was Father Joseph B. De Silva, principal from 1942 to 1950. One name that stands out during this period is that of Father Ozzy Fonseca. For a short period, we had the Sisters of Canossa Convent running the school. That was the first time an element of professionalism was introduced in the management of the school. With classes only up to the 7th standard, students from Kalina had to attend schools outside Kalina to complete their studies up to the metric and SSE. The induction of late manager Marcus Gonzalez as parish priest and manager of the school in the year 54 opened a new chapter in the educational history of Kalina. Immediately after taking over, Manager Gonzalez embarked on an ambitious program of construction and expansion. Each year, a higher standard was introduced, and in a short span of 4 years, St. Mary's became a high school with classes up to the SSE, housed in an impressive and imposing building. It was only in 1957 that the school for the first time had a fully qualified principal and headmaster, Father Benjamin Sequeira. It was under the stewardship of Father Benjamin that St. Mary's started sending up students for the board examination. Succeeding principals, that is Father George Lobo, Gregory Lobo, Henry Menezes, and Brian Fernandez, each in his own way, kept the flag of St. Mary's flying high. During this period, the school made rapid progress. The number of students increased by leaps and bounds, and the standard of education greatly improved. St. Mary's had reached a position of preeminence in the eastern suburbs, and the rush for admissions to St. Mary's had become a torrent. The need for more space and additional school building had become acute. The real struggle by all the three principals, Father Gregory, Father Henry, and Father Brian, along with dedicated lay people, paved the way. In these circumstances, the appointment of Father John Rumau as parish priest and principal was providential. Within 6 months of his coming to Kalina, Father John commenced construction of the college building. Today we have a magnificent edifice standing proudly on what was once a paddy field behind the church. From humble beginnings, St. Mary's has risen to become the leader in the realm of higher education in the eastern suburbs. St. Mary's is no longer just a school. It's no longer a high school. St. Mary's today is an institution, a diamond encrusted in platinum.